G'day everyone. Proud to say Barkarati is brought to you by Radix Nutrition, makers of the most technically comprehensive nutrition products that have ever existed. Unlock your potential with Radix. G'day listeners, welcome to Barkarati, the sailing podcast. My name's Jordan Spencer and it's that time of the week where we get to hang out with some really cool sailors. But of course we have to share the mic with, I have to share the mic with my two idiot mates. So first off, welcome, a new segment we're going to call Sexy Time with BP.
Sexy time.
Because he's in his bed.
Greetings, exalted one.
Mr. Brett Perry.
I'm just, it is very early here in the morning and you know what it's like. I'm sharing accommodation and I'm trying to be a little bit quiet. And so I'm just, I just haven't moved. I've just rolled over and put my computer on and yeah, that's how it is. But have we sparked a nerve or what with this episode, this double episode thing going on?
It's been massive, mate. It's been massive. Let's bring in the other bloke.
Well, we've sort of been, I've got a bit to say before we do that. We've been banging on a bit for a while about this. And the response is huge. There is a lot of passionate people out there, so we've got a lot to break down.
Thanks, buddy. Sorry for talking.
From my bed.
BP gets serious in bed.
He had a voice that could make a wolverine purr.
Mr. Nick Bice, how serious are you in bed?
I feel a bit overdressed, actually. We should do this on a weekly, but I mean, it's great to catch up with my mates on a weekly basis, but this is taking it to a new level, BP.
Oh, mate, it's just, it's comfortable.
What are you wearing?
I've got my Bonds jammies on.
Oh,
because it's cold here in the UK.
Oh.
I mean, it would have been a different story if I was, somewhere warm. That could be a bit sort of surprising.
It's nearly summer
Somewhat
there, mate.
revealing.
Why is it cold?
It's been freezing.
I'm still in t-shirt and shorts.
No, it's not going well. The world, the Earth hasn't spun yet.
Yeah, I think you're right, mate. It's a slow spin. Oh dear. Right, we've got a lot going on. So you're in the UK, about to deliver your XX2. Bicey, you're just mastering things on the Galatea, I think, in Palma. And
Oh, mate.
we
Just surrounded by absolute champions. Let me tell you.
I can imagine the crew. I love that. I love the Centos.
One, the boat is super cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Two, surrounded by champions. Three, first race at time of recording, first race of the season yesterday, first official race. Oh, actually, two races. 20 to 25 knots, 2 windward lords
Nice.
on 100 footers.
Busy time
First
for you.
top mark. First top mark. There's Galatea, the V, X, Wally, Shanto, Tango.
Yeah.
And Leopard, all rounding the top mark within half a boat length of each other.
Oh, like a
Really
TP.
cool stuff. Yeah. Well, basically.
Yeah.
And you've got systems on board which are essentially like a TP. You got string lines. You've got bloody all sorts of shit going on. But it's super cool.
Super cool. Love it. Good work. Well, and then the other element, obviously, Mr. BP is working his little ring off, but on the other element is, as BP mentioned at the top of the show, the conversation about bring back sailing. It's gone nuts.
How's it gone?
So
It
let
has
me-
just sparked a nerve, as I said. It's twinged. It's twinged a little a disc in the back, and everyone's just trying to solve the problem.
So there's two things you can take from that, or there's a multiple of things you can take from that. One, people love our sport. Two, people want to share our sport. Three, people really, really, really want the sport to grow again and see more. There's so much response, so many ideas, and we appreciate every one of them. We're going to have a bit of a chat about this stuff. We're going to bring a lot of really interesting things forward and talk about what we do next, because we have no idea.
Well, we do.
We do, but we don't, in a way.
We're the saviours.
We're the saviours. So should we kick it off with the second part?
I think so.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, all right. So for those who haven't caught up, last week we did the first part. We had a long discussion about bringing back sailing. We got in Scott Patton, who's the head of sailing program at Rye Yacht Club, and we got in Adrian Finglas, who's the head coach at the RQYS, Royal Queensland Yacht Squadron. So it's a bit Aussie-centric, but it applies across the world. We got those blokes because they've been hammering us about this. They talk ideas. We're close to them. They talk lots of ideas, and there's other people out there that we've been recommended, and we will. We're going to do multiple of these on every few months just to keep the momentum going. We want to just keep sparking the conversation, and from that element that went on. So there's been plenty discussed. If you missed episode 1, it's last week's. So just jump on it. So that'd be, what's that going to be? Episode something. What are we up to? 256 it would have been. 256. So yeah, let's just bring it back in and continue on with the conversation.
The Gemba report. I never read of
it's
it.
a good one.
Do you think that member element, because membership is a massive revenue spinner for each yacht club, probably at its highest, right?
Yeah.
So is there a slight conflict in that? Because yacht clubs want members and they want to show the value of a membership, but you still want to get people through the door and then take them on the journey and give them the experience. But maybe just that's where there's a little conflict going on.
For sure there's a conflict, Bicey.
I mean, what do you do, Scott? Do you, as far as trying to drag people off the streets to come in and have a drink and a bit of a social, just to kind of
drinking.
Get in the environment? A happy Anzac Day there, eh?
Yeah.
Bit of courage in your belly.
Our doors are always open. We have a welcome. We have a welcome new members at our yacht club. So
that's a good sign.
Yeah, it is. It is difficult. Sometimes you want a bit of exclusivity, so members feel like they're getting value for money. You know, they've got privacy in the toilets. They can hang. We've got a bit of an issue where people store their things in the toilets. So people, you know, if we just open everything up and get people coming into the toilets, we've got a security risk with people's property. We've also got, you know, tackers and kids in the toilets that sort of we've got to look after as well. So we sort of have to send people to public toilets down the road. But yeah, we have a welcome sign. To your point, Aids, with young people on committees, we've got an 18 or 20-year-old on our executive committee. I've also brought in a 21-year-old on our sailing committee. Plus, I've also set up a WhatsApp group within the yacht club as well, with all those. I don't want to call them juniors because they're not juniors; they're young adults. So I'll just set up a young guns WhatsApp group to get them all circulating and talking and feeling like that they've got a movement together as they move through the club, so they've got a voice. Because while the juniors and these young adults only make up a fraction of our membership, they're 100% of our future. So we've got to include them in the journey. We have to let them feel like and see real results, that what they say is listened to and heard, and things are 100%. Implemented and changed. Yeah. So we can virtue signal and put them on committees and say they've got a voice, but we have to act, and we have to set our clubs up in a situation where not automated as such, but it's not overwhelming for them to step into those roles and then perform those roles at a club as well. So we've got a little bit of work to do there, and that's cool. We know what we need to do, and there's ways we can do that. So, but definitely clubs. I also think that cross-pollination between other sports as well. Like, yeah, we're a yacht club, but you see the success of like football and cricket clubs. They're two different clubs utilising the same ground. Like, there's no reason. We've all seen the huge boom of paddleboarding and kayaks and things like that, and every yacht club's got paddleboard storage and kayak storage, and we've now got wingding storage and windsurfer storage and all that sort of stuff that we've built as well. But there's no reason we shouldn't be incorporating, surf skis or outriggers as part of our clubs. We are an ocean sport community. We are saltwater people. We all love being out on the water. We know what it's like in a yacht club when you learn to sail, Then you want to learn to wingding. Then you want to learn to windsurf. Then you want to learn to sail a cat. Like, we want to do all those things. So there's no reason that people that paddle surf skis or outriggers don't also want to learn to sail as well. So then you're bringing other people in that already love the ocean and already love being on the water. Well, they're your perfect client. They're the type of membership that you want to bring into your club because they're already engaged. Half the work's done. So I think some cross-pollination between other sports would be a really good benefit to a lot of yacht clubs. We've got prime real estate. We're already built. We're already there. We just have to open our doors and welcome and service these other smaller clubs and sports.
It's interesting, boys. I was thinking the whole conversation, about access to clubs and stuff. Surf lifesaving clubs, they're right on the beach. They got people roaming through them all the time. They do have, you've got to have the code to get into the toilets and stuff like that. But they've also built the culture where they hardly actually ever compete. And they all spend all their time they all pay to become members, and then they go down and volunteer their time once a month or once every 3 weeks or something, and then occasionally get a competition. So maybe there's a psychological thing. I did have a couple of ideas while we're talking. One for Australian sailing. So, Scotty, you talked about doing the banter, or was that BP? One of you said we have to have banter as part of the training program that Australian Sailing puts out. From an administration element, because they do have administration element, they could be a whole section just on making sailing fun, I reckon. That could be an interesting element to put into the syllabus. And then the obvious thing is, why don't we just get the government to make sailing mandatory? Everyone has to do it.
That's the easy one, isn't it?
Yeah.
The Thingless report. Everyone must sail.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say we got to introduce pokies into all yacht clubs.
Yeah, well, I was thinking on the membership.
That'll get the parents involved.
Yeah. Well, Belmont 16s, what's the membership for 5 years there? It's about $3 for 5 years, and then you just got to pay your AYF stuff on top of it, They pay their sailors to sail, so,
Well, I mean, the Palace is $20 for a year, and when you get your membership, you get $10 free drink voucher and $10 raffle voucher. Works out well.
You're losing money not being a member,
mate. But it gets them in the door. I can tell you that much.
It's interesting.
We could have a sailing version of Pokemon Go. Get the kids out in the water, hunting Pokemons on the water, and send them through every point of sail. And there's lots we can do.
That's a good one.
We've had discussions about changing our marks to make them look like something else. And again, our marks, why do they have to be yellow or orange? And,
exactly.
Oh boy, why can't they be palm trees or something fun or Mario Brothers or something? We could do something to make it a lot more. Why does mark have to be ABC? Why can't it be Mario, Giuseppe, and I don't know the third.
Luigi.
You could have points.
Luigi.
You could have, various points for going around different marks. Each mark has a different level of difficulty. You know what I mean? And you get points as you go around the mark instead of actually racing each other. Your goal is to go around the Mario mark and then if you can go but then you have to go around a certain amount of marks.
That won't happen, mate.
Yeah, come on. No, I love it.
I think in all the fun of this, Scotty's onto a good point. We're bound by all these traditions that these old institutions have grown up with. Like, why can't we have, a crazy top mark with a Ronald McDonald or something? But, the committee says you got to have a yellow mark and it's got to be this and it's got to be that. What we're battling with is these old traditions that yacht clubs have been founded on. And for us to grow as a sport, we've got to break some of these traditions and we've got to think outside the square.
Well, the Royal Akarana in Auckland, it's for the kids. It's you go around a flamingo, you go around a swan, you go around something else like a duck. I don't know what it is, but it's all fun stuff like that. We could have a all black
Ronald McDonald,
all black shaped mark, and all the Aussie kids have to run over it as part of.
Yeah. Aim for bonus points for the All Blacks.
Remember those little wacky things you had as a kid? You'd whack them with a bat, and they'd go down, and then they'd stand back up again.
Yeah.
Why can't we hit the mark?
Yeah.
Why can't you knock one of those Humpty Dumpty mark things over and let the kids run into them? Go around it, but hit it. Have some fun with it. Whack it with something, or whatever. I think at club level, we need to change. As I said, we've got our national standard at state and national championships, but below that, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just make it enjoyable.
I love it. I love it.
100%, Scotty.
All right, boys. So
I think we mentioned it before, and it's pretty clear.
Mhm.
We've just got to move the local
times.
Bunnings down
Oh,
onto the shore.
bring
So it's constant sausage sizzle going on the whole time.
the sausage.
You just slip over the onions. That's the problem.
No.
Well,
Go on, mate.
well, I see you've hit on a good point. The old Aussie barbecue, the get-together, the social element of that is so key. And one of the big things we're having some success with is just engaging the mums and dads to cook up a brekkie barbie for the kids when they turn up on a Saturday morning. And it's asking the parents to put up their hand and spend a bit of time at the cold face of the barbecue. But it's amazing what impact that has on all the social element of the club. It's really key. So bring back the good old Aussie barbie at every yacht club in the nation.
Another idea I've thought about, gentlemen, and because one of my roles in Barkarati is I've got to identify all the different events that are coming up in case people forget to send me emails. So I scour the internet looking to find events, right? There's no standard calendar that people use. Like, we need one central calendar, like our friends at Live Sail Die do one. There's sort of a world sailing one. There's different websites have little bits, but oh God, I wish there was just a centralized calendar where everyone just dumped everything in. So you knew what events were coming up, because there's a lot of
100% with results too.
That's sort of
Don't
happened
start me.
with
One of my jobs in my job description is to try and find out the results. Nah, I've given up.
It's hard.
No, that's a whole.
What are we using now?
That's a whole nother discussion, because that sort of was the theme of a few platforms that surfaced that have gone away again, isn't it? We talked about this a while ago.
Yeah.
There was some
It
great
is,
ideas. We loved it, and it just fell apart. No, just nothing. And that's a funding.
And that's the thing. The beauty's in the simplicity, right? We've got this problem in our sport because it's a very technical sport, highly technical sport, and so we feel as though everything should be.
Yeah.
But results should just be simple. With the LTs, there's no yardstick. It's just first over the line, whatever order you come over the line. And again, and then they just work it out into weight divisions. But and that's the other thing too. Boats and classes and people getting disheartened when they go to do an event, and then they might not have the time or money to invest into a boat and be in the top 5% of a fleet, and they're not turning up to a lot of events because they're like, well, I've got a boat, it's okay, it's not going to win me any races, but I also don't want to invest any more in it. So a whole separate topic. I sort of feel like golf, having a personal performance handicap where, if you've got that boat, it's still got the same sail, this is what you sail at your club, you can take that handicap to any, sanctioned event or whatever. And so then you've got people actually, getting an award on handicap. I mean, we all watch the Sydney to Hobart. You've got Line Honours, which gets all the coverage, but then there's the Tattersalls Cup, and that's what we're all sitting there watching. So I think making sailing fairer for more people would get more people engaged.
Yeah,
that's a big task.
Yeah.
To do something like that's a huge task. But for let's look at most associations and most classes. You've got the top 5% of the fleet. They're going to be fine. They've got all the time, all the money, all the inclination to put into a boat and a class and be the top sailor of that class. But let's face it, the class is built on the 95% of the other people, the other members. We need to drag those guys and girls through as well. So everybody feels like they're getting a fair run at an event or a race or whatever we do. Because I know there's a lot of people at the moment are just like, why bother? Unless I go and spend 30 grand on that boat over there, I'm just not going to win anything. So I may as well just walk up, give $50 of my starting money to the club and the other $50 to this guy over here because I know he's going to win the regatta.
Yeah.
So we do have that problem too, where we've got highly invested people in the sport, which we need, and it's good. But we've also got to look after the people that are doing the sport, that that do want to do it for fun, but still want to do these events, but they just feel like they're getting burned every time they do one.
That's why.
So I feel that that's a bit of an issue too.
That's why I think the different sort of events would have some benefit, where it's not all about the same thing over and over again, because you're exactly right. Why does the back third or the back half keep sailing if they're just going to trail around behind? If I can't get put forward, or then we're not doing something different to engage them. I 100% agree.
Yeah.
Anything else there, boys?
Oh, there's so much. There's so much. I think,
what chapter are you up to in the Fingless report, Adrian?
Actually, Bicey, I'm just about to write a book, actually. So that's my next little mission. I'm writing a book at the moment. And little shout out for my own podcast, The Wave, if you ever want to listen to The Wave. I don't put them out there much, but if you want to listen about, performance and leadership and great things about life, the old Wave.
You should get us on the show, mate.
It's about performance and leadership.
Yeah. We could be your guests.
Absolutely, BP, absolutely. But I think just on the other thing, which would be so hard to do, but I'm going to put it out there, the industry needs a design competition to make a cheaper learn-to-sail boat. So, we look at all the different platforms we use, whatever platform you use, whatever your tribe wants to select, every learn-to-sail platform is so expensive. Surely there's got to be a modern-day mirror dinghy or a whatever it is. And we've got to push our mates who we know in the marine industry to come up with a better product that's rotor-molded, plastic, cheap, robust, and, every family can afford it. Because at the moment, here in Australia, if you want to buy I'm just going to use the Optimus, for example, not to signal it out, but most other junior classes are the same. But an Opti is $10,500 if you want the top level Opti, the winner product. You can get a Far East Opti for about $6,000, but the equipment's expensive. And I think if we can somehow lower the barrier to entry, it'd be awesome if the marine industry could come up with a challenge like that.
I'm glad you brought this up because, fond memories for me, and Bicey's a boat builder by trade. BP's spent years and years and years bashing around and building boats. He's got his own production line going. But the most valuable thing for me, I reckon, as a young fellow was, the first boat at 2 or 3 or whatever it was. We were building in the backyard with Dad, and then we did the boat when we were about 8 or 9, and that was the way you took the old plywood and you stitch and glued the thing together. And that time it was cheap, that's where the mirror came from. It was a competition by a newspaper for, make a people's boat. And now it's gone away from that. I'll be honest, we've had a few conversations on the show about the BK1, and the idea we have at the moment to make it cool for the cool kids is because, is to make it a kit. Like it's a foam sandwich, flat panel design, but you make it kind of like a stitch and glue boat, but it's still, if we could, it's modern fiberglass looking boat, be pretty cool. To rotor mold something, like it doesn't have the drawbacks of rotor molding is it's heavy, but it's cheap, as you say, and it's durable as buggery. So young kids can't ruin it, So you're right onto it, Age, 100%. So, and the other element you said in there is the industry needs to get behind it. And why would the industry want to get behind it? They're not going to make much money from it. The reason they would want to get behind it is it brings more people into the sport, and it's the second boats where you make more money. When they come back and they go to the better boats, and so the industry has a much larger base of people to sell to. Is sort of my view there.
Well, I think the big companies like the Benettos and the Genots and Sunfast or whatever they are, those companies need to have pressure put on them that they're going to save our sport. and they've got to come up with a design, and they've got to come up with a kids boat that's cost effective and every family can afford it. And that's the big problem, because every family at the moment can't afford to go sailing. And we've got to push our sport into the African nations and, the Pacific and all these other countries that are bound by water. They're not sailing, and it's because of cost. And we've got to get out there and somehow shake the tree and come up with a new mirror dinghy of our times.
What do you think, BP? Because you're in this like at a keelboat level, like the exact brand that Ades was talking about is going up against your X2. They've bought out the super cheap 30 in a keelboat level where I'm interested how you view it. What you think, whether if you split it from kids and off the beach stuff or into keelboats, is it different?
The only way it's going to work if there is a subsidisation from every level of association, because the day has gone where you've got the ability to do things on the cheap. It doesn't matter if it's a pre-designed boat. The cost of things to get done is the problem, and that's why the prices of boats are going through the roof, because they're so it's such a man-hour thing. But I think it can be done. I think it's a matter of the world associations. It doesn't have to be world sailing, but it could be a whole new group of people that get together, and it's kind of started with these people last week. They're trying to look at an answer as well. It could be that there's a boat that, as you said, a boat that's designed that is rotor molded or is a kit idea that costs absolutely stuff all, but you've got to put it to the clubs, and the clubs sort of say, well, look, I'll buy 10 of those, right? So from your membership, the club boat, and every club on the planet buys 10 of them.
Yeah.
And that's how it works. It can't be done just in one corner of the world. It can't be done we grew up not knowing what an Opti was, Ades. Australia was so far behind with that sort of thing, but that was the start of what it is now. But the price of those boats have gone through the roof because it became a pathway to dominance.
Mm-hmm.
Dominance is the word that we want to keep out of this. What we want to bring back in is togetherness. And it sort of happened in a few clubs around Australia with the Pacers. That teams racing thing, which still is huge, but the Pacers are not cheap, and Pacers are not cheap either.
What about if it was a rotor molded boat? Like, say it's aimed for the kids, right? I'm just trying to really throw something out there. So we'll aim it for the kids. So the rotor molded sailing element of this boat is for kids into the sport, but it has a multi-use. It's an adventure boat, so it's got tanks you can store thing in, and so the kids can go off and have a bit, take food with them and go around the corner, or it can be a tender for your boat. So if you've got a yacht, it could be a tender, and something like that where it's got multi-use, so the parents get value out of it. The kids
my brain's ticking.
Yeah.
Well, that's what we got to get the likes of Bicey and Brett to start thinking, because it's the way forward. We've got to get a cheap, effective kids boat out there to save our sport, because we can't keep going the way we're going. Yeah. Sport's just going to diminish, and it's getting smaller every year.
It's devouring itself in performance, because we've got the wrong approach. It's not we've got to get away from. We've got to get away from, natural talent will always rise to the top, Ades. We know that, right? We know that there will always be a kid that is just that little bit better for whatever reason. And then that kid deserves to go down the pathway of performance. It's trying to make it, as Scott and we've all said from day one, the inclusivity of a sport that we all love is where it's going to, stabilise itself.
Yeah. Do you think that that's how we've got into this situation in the first place?
Too many boats.
I don't want to poo-poo the idea of a super cheap boat for kids, but just the development of so many classes.
Always.
We're so diluted now.
Yep.
There's associations that shouldn't even be really running anymore, but they're clinging on by their fingernails. And we've chased performance, and we've chased performance, and we've chased performance, and now the as I said, the classes that are doing really well at the moment, that just off the top of my head that I've seen, are the fins are a design that worked since the 20s. Sort of 1920s design boat.
From memory, Jordan Spencer.
Well.
From memory, they're 75 years old.
Episode 12.
75 years old. So 50s.
So there's a boat that's still working with some slight modifications. The LTs are back with some slight modifications. A kid can get on one of those secondhand and be competitive for $1,500 with a secondhand LT. The Hobies are the same. They're all coming back to the Hobies because you can pick one up cheap. And even the old sails, the boats are still competitive if you're not a bad sailor. So while I do think we do need something that's more affordable for juniors to get into, absolutely. But I'm also worried that by developing more and more, we're diluting
adding
more
to
and
the
more.
problem.
So then we're going to have a lot of wasted opties that are just. Then what's going to happen is you're going to flood the market with them. Then the opties are going to be on the nature strip, and now you can buy an opti for $500. And then that fleet takes off again. So you're battling supply and demand on both sides, which is quite
difficult. Which is the point that it has to come from a group that is actually pushing it globally. It can't be, the Brighton Seacliff Sailing Club. It can't be Sprento. It's got to come from the whole lot. And that's the problem we've got with sailing across the board, is that sailing's different on every continent, other than the focus on the Olympics, right? It's just completely different, and they all sit in their little corner and they do their things. The problem we've got is we've got world sailing, but world sailing is not involved in this sort of grassroots thing to this level. You've got no one saying, okay, we're gonna do this boat, and every club has to buy 10, right? For $1,000.
And I also think the growth that you're seeing in windsurfing at the moment too, just as a whole, even the old like 90s and 2000 boards and rigs, is due to the wingdings. I've got one, and I've been wingdinging and foiling around, and it's fun. To have a really cool setup's expensive, and I'm wingdinging around thinking, I remember windsurfing being a bit more fun than this. And then you look around for a windsurfer, and you can buy an amazing fully carbon rig, board, the whole box and dice for $800 for 3 sails, carbon boom, carbon mast. And so I actually think that the wingding has assisted the growth in windsurfing. I mean, look at the Defi Wind that's coming up. Is it this month or early next month? 1,500 competitors on the line in France. 1,500. Just blasting away on a windsurfer. So I can see the growth coming back into that sport, because winging has got to the point where we're chased performance, and we've continued to chase performance, and now a front foil is more expensive than a whole windsurfing kit almost. So you get into that cycle of chasing performance, and then we end up back where we started. So it's a problem we have as a sport, and it's a quandary that we need to figure out.
Well, it starts with discussions. It starts with trying to get the word out, and it's been going on for years. So I think we've got to make it happen.
But I also think, a super cheap boat that for juniors to get into, and a boat that they can grow with. So a boat that you can develop. So it might start off as a cat rig, then go to a sloop. You might be able to bang a trapeze on it for, they're just little sections that you can add on. And then as you grow as a sailor, you then grow into the class.
Like that.
Might even have a transom that can bolt.
Rainbow. Bring back the rainbow.
I love it.
Well, see, I had a rainbow when I was a kid.
Oh, mate. I'll tell you, that's how it all starts.
Oh,
yeah.
Have you seen the latest rainbow with a square top mainsail?
Yeah.
They're already complaining. They're going to ban it.
Oh, no.
Bloody hell. What, in all four at the event?
Well, it'll be welcome at the Invitational though, Scott, won't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I haven't seen a planter box with a square top main on it, but I'll we'll hunt a rainbow out. We've got to get one down there for sure.
All right, lads.
I expect to see you boys down there.
Yeah, I'm pretty
100%.
keen, actually. Pretty keen. So I'll just summarise a bit, Because there's more to this conversation, like the round table, getting people together and talking about it. So far, we've thrown the following ideas out, and so I want to surmise so people just don't blast past it. So we talked about the cost, right, and what we can do, whether we can bring in a super cheap boat, and the great idea of growing with it. We had the idea of bringing parents and getting them sailing, so they're not just sitting down there watching the kids. I think that's a really critical one. I think that was pretty cool. Making the races different, right? Whether it's racing, whether it's adventure, whatever you do, make it different. Like you all made the point that WAGs or twilight sailing is way more popular than the afternoon, the Saturday racing. Our promotion is weak, and we need to do something about that. Maybe we get a decent calendar. We've got to work something out about that. That's some sort of idea. And then there was a bunch of things about changing the rules up as well, having a look at keep simplifying that again. And then, of course, the smartest idea, which was just to make it mandatory. So what I think the next step is from here, gentlemen, is that we're going to sort of try and get a few more people. But when we all do get together, we might do a live discussion where we could actually get a bunch of people up and then just really, let's just keep people talking about it. So I'd like to encourage, again, I said it at the start, reach out to your club, send ideas to us, send ideas to the Yachting Federation, send ideas to World Sailing. But, one of the things about the boat thing is what we could do is we could make it work with the green element. Maybe the next boat harnesses the green thing and we can make a super cheap boat that we can also recycle and blah, blah, blah. And that's the spark to it. I don't know. But, we know people in the industry. Let's get a groundswell of conversation, I think, is step one, and start agreeing some points. Go on.
Jordan, do you mind if I just throw one more idea there?
Yeah, go, my friend. I know BP's on a time limit, that's all. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's okay. You touched on promotion.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the greatest things we've got for promotion is our little boats that sail. They got colourful sails. They go out. But we as individuals who run the sport, we send these young sailors, fleets, whatever, miles offshore. We've got to bring it back just sailing next to a shoreline.
Agree.
I always tell my instructors at the fantastic club I work at, we've got a product to sell and the product is sailing. So you've only got to go 50 metres off the beach to do your training. Why do we have to go 2 miles off the beach to do some training? So I think, if you're in a yacht club out there and you're listening to this amazing podcast today, bring it closer to the shore so people can see it.
Yes, 100%. Anyone disagree with that?
The battle for the bar. No, that's the battle of the bar principle. We literally race along the 5 knot line.
Yeah.
So competitors' families can actually follow. They can either ride their bike along the beach or drive their car down the coastal track and follow their family member sailing the boat, because we're literally parallel to the beach for 12 kilometres. And you're sailing in that. Look, you watch the jet skis. The jet skis don't go 2 miles out. They go in the beautiful, shallow turquoise waters close to the beach so their mates can wave at them and they can show off. Well, there's no reason why we should be doing that.
Yeah.
Because the jet skis are there.
Yeah.
They have to
the
keep
other
away.
thing is, too, speaking of rules, well, how's the rules about advertising on sales? I mean, you've got the biggest banner in the world sitting on the water. Like, sponsor a kid.
Yeah.
Sponsor a kid. Chuck your big business name on a sale. Who cares? Like,
I'm a big
that's
fan
one of the
that.
dumbest.
Yep.
It's one of the dumbest rules I've ever seen, is like limiting, sponsorship to, not even half a square meter on a certain part of the sale. Like, light it up. Like, show off whoever wants to put money into sailing. I'm happy to chuck it all over a sail and sail it up and down the beach all day if they want. Like, we shouldn't be limited to these silly little rules for no reason. We need to promote the sport, and we need more colour. It's one of the problem with the black sails, actually, is it's just they're very dark and not as majestic as the white sails or the colourful sails. But it's just colour and movement and fun. It's not that difficult, and change the perception of what we are. We're not stuck up. We're not all rich. we're just out there having a blast, and we need to showcase ourselves out there having a blast more. So go and start a YouTube channel and film yourself sailing. Start getting it out there.
Love it.
Yeah, be an influencer.
All right, gentlemen, we might have to call it there. We're about to lose the beautiful Brett Perry at the moment.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I'm giving you some raps here, bud. Really appreciate the input, gentlemen. It's been good. It could be the start of something great. If you'll call me again, I don't know. But, it looks like it could be something great. But thanks so much for giving your time today, boys.
Yeah, awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah,
cheers,
thanks.
boys.
And I think just to touch base quickly, I think that this is not the first. We put this down as part one. I think we've got to do this regularly. So let's keep that in mind, eh?
Sounds great.
Absolutely.
Good on you.
Well, boys, that was a continuation. There was so much information shared there. Like when we think about all the things we talked about, we talked about the cost, parents, getting them focused, stop making racing boring. We've got to pick up our promotion on the sport. Like, how do we promote it better? Like, what does our brand look like? Get a decent calendar that we can share. There's so many ideas that just came from that discussion. But, of course, there's so many ideas have come from our listener in the week after part one. I feel pretty happy that we did these two episodes, boys. I feel very grateful to Aids and Scott for jumping on and for everyone that's reaching out. But as my great mate Simon Reffold said, using our power for good. I think it's good.
That's a bit dangerous, that statement, Gordon Spencer.
Well,
and let's not think about that too much because that could go anywhere.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. We're not about to high five ourselves yet.
Let's just stick to the t-shirts and the hoodies. All right, okay.
No. To be honest, I've done a little bit of work during the week. Bicey, the BK1 is looking for a mask supplier. So we're about to go in. We're about to go into production. So if you've got any old spare spreaders sitting around, just let us know.
Think of a number, triple it.
Well, you don't. No, but we've got to do what we can. There's no question, and I think we'll find a resolution between the three of us. We're pretty good at that. Whether or not we come through with it, I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, through a few years down the track. Yeah. No. Healthy.
No, this is high agenda. This is high agenda stuff, Bicey. I think we'll come up with something.
Yeah.
Healthy discussion. What about healthy consumption, boys? Remember, if you use our supporter of our show, Radix Nutrition, they got the fantastic meals, drinks, protein samples, all sorts of different things. If you just go and jump on board to Radix Nutrition and experience the transformation with Radix Nutrition, if you go to their website, you can use the code BARKARATE, one word, and get a discount on us. No story this week because every new young sailor will be listening and we just want to get them happy and discuss the future of our sport. So the only thing I'll do on events coming up, boys, is just a reminder, Worrell 1000, as we go to air, starts on the Monday week. I think that'll be the 12th. So, yeah. That's a big one. We're gonna get into that a bit again as we do because we like that one. Good bit of fun. We even got a special guest to talk about that.
They should be having Radix on the boat, shouldn't they?
Well, that's it. It's a perfect solution for them. So yeah, it's exactly what you want to have on the boat. Perfect.
Yeah.
I wonder, can you mix salt water, BP? Have you tried that yet?
Yeah. I don't think you'd have a choice, to be honest. Well, just tucking into a bit of a breakfast at around about lunchtime. And you've got a bit of salt water coming over the deck. There's no question that would be salt water in there.
Yeah, but it's the perfect solution for what they're doing. So,
yeah.
All right, lads. How do we want to run this? Do you want me to lead this, or you guys want to pull out the ones that jumped out to you?
We have got so many emails and so many people passionate about this that this could be a whole episode in itself.
Okay. Well, one thing I'm going to say is that one of these emails that came in this week is going to be the Vycobi Listener of the Month. okay, because some of these emails were so good. We just have to pick the best one, and I think I've got the best one, and you can argue it back. But, yeah, we've had some great contributions, but it is that time of the month where the year where we an award for the Jack Lloyd Listener of the Week, the Vicobi Listener of the Month, okay. For a non-sponsored podcast, we're suddenly mentioning
that's a bit of a mouthful right there. Plenty of plugs going on.
Yeah, well, they're good people, so it's all cool. Right, where will I start? We got our guests sent us a whole bunch of responses that they saw. And just to be clear, that's responses that came directly to them. Correct.
As messages. So one's not in the public forum as opposed to just the discussion on our socials.
Yeah, all right. So we'll go through the social bits a bit, and then there's a couple of quite long emails. That's why I'm trying to speed through segments so we can actually go through them because they're worth the time. So one is completely Adrian got a really interesting one, completely confidential. We won't reveal anything, but very much appreciate the person making the effort to give us a lot of detail. Scott Patton, hey boys, just wanted to let you know I've had a lot of feedback from the podcast. I'll attach a couple of comments from people. I've blanked out names. Got to be honest, I haven't sent you any of the really complimentary ones that were sent from people I know. It's just not it's not going to benefit the discussion. So a couple of these relatively completely unknown people that he got connection from. So if I go to my emails, he got a whole bunch of them. So I'll put it on this afternoon. Definitely worth a listen for any of us looking for ideas to turn around the gradual decline in sailing. Well done, Scotty. There are a bunch of observations made by Scotty and Aids that will resonate with conversations several of us have had on the lawn. I'm listening on the way to work. Well done. This is the best discussion I've heard regarding building sailing I've heard pretty much forever. I'll send some feedback in. Hi there. Just chatted briefly with a couple of weeks back. Thanks for the link to Barkarati. We're definitely on the same page. Our AGM is in May and we'll find our club heading more actively in the same direction. Blah, blah, blah. They continue. So they're sort of ones that are talking about, nice work. We're going to do something about it. When we continue with the Facebook, there was a response. David Mann, he does agree with the shorter racing, but you've got to remember it's not just racing time with sailing because you've got all the setup and pack-up time. So you've got to make it worthwhile going out there as well. So by reducing racing times to less time on the water doesn't change the time factor. As a parent, not sure what would drive me to participate if you're down to 10 to 20-minute races. I think the idea, you guys can step in here, but the idea around the shorter races was to keep everyone closer together so they're interacting. It's not a lonely race for the kids or for adults, and you can learn more. I think that was the gist, just do more sailing.
What
more racing.
I took away from it was more the races themselves are shorter, but you're still on the water for the couple of hours, whatever it might be.
And I've got one step on that is that there was a lot of discussion about adventure sailing and free time sailing. Correct. So going down to the club, setting your boat up is part of it. That should be part of the fun. So therefore the volunteers and the parents should get involved and make it some sort of breakfast or something like that. Make it fun, an enjoyable time, and then on the water they have a X amount of time to just fluff around. Because that's the fun part, We used to do it on windsurfing and this and that. And then a couple of organised races, then some fluff time and come back in and pack the boats up, There's ways and means to make it work.
Yep. That's a good point. Some great discussion. Gary Eastman, great discussion. Societal shifts were touched on and are very important. A question though, the notion of future is falling seems to be accepted as axiomatic. If you don't do it, you're being left behind, etc. Fleet numbers don't back this up though. Surely LTs, lasers, H16s, H14s, they're hobbies, all low-tech classes where the fleet matters more than the boat. Simplicity and contained costs are crucial. Witness also A-class catch, which according to many in years past would be all falling now, whereas in fact Classic continues to be dominant in numbers with new boats being built, would be a more accurate statement, something like falling is here to stay and is a great addition to the range of experiences kids can have. Not everyone wants to go as fast on falls, nor can afford them. Local conditions, blah, 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 blah. I think we need to be careful how we do that. So, and then the element you talked about, Andrew Coote sent in about the adventure. So even that report that Adrian referred to, the Gemba report, identifies adventure as part of the perceived brand, and yet it's barely addressed at tackers or youth level. The focus virtually exclusively on racing with pathways that support this paradigm. We're probably guilty of that, although we are starting to talk about it more and more. The spirit of adventure is captured by incorporating destination tasks into the program, pirate treasure hunts that require kids to read simple charts, use rules, find treasures they navigate.
Pirate treasure hunt.
Yes.
Wow. Love it.
Love it, yeah. More fun involved. Everyone who completes the task then becomes a winner, whereas the majority of those who race are losers, okay? Or got to phrase that a little bit better. That was how I quickly read through it. I'm trying to cut words out. Until we take other insights from the Gemba report, what most people want to sail for adventurous fun will continue to recruit and lose entry-level sailors and cost both dollars and time. It's value that we need to provide. Anyway, it's on the book. You can go and read that one, but that was quite important. So one thing, we're getting some good ideas. We've got to work out how to corral them. The next two, are you guys still happy if I continue? I feel like
yeah, man.
Continue, please, Jordan Spencer.
Okay, so Russell Morris, this is Gray's dad, I assume.
Good one.
Yep.
Russell Morris.
Yeah, not the singer, but I'm assuming Gray's dad.
No, that's Brett Morris.
Oh yeah, that's Brett. Okay, yeah, good. That's what I wanted.
Bobby's uncle.
Well, that's his uncle, yeah, or his
Uncle
long
Bob?
lost brother, or
Uncle Russell,
Uncle Russ.
cousin,
Rusty, Uncle Rusty.
cousin Russ. Anyway, it's got the same name as Gray
Cousin
Morris,
Russ.
same surname, no relation. Hey guys, great discussion, and a lot I agree with from both Scott and Adrian. Here's some numbers. I like this guy. He's come in with us before and provided statistics. And statistics, it's evidence. He's providing evidence. Here are some numbers behind why we're having this discussion. But sailing numbers are about inflows into sailing versus outflows at the end of the day. Inflows, 0.7% of the population sail at 13. I guess that's years of age. So at a year group of 150 people at school, one sails. Sailing is terrible at marketing its benefits en masse to youth and getting inflow. It almost
love that comment.
halves between 14 and 16 to 0.4. Sailing is terrible at retaining youth when they do get inflow. 1 in 300 youth in Australia sail between the ages of 14 and 30. Sailing is good at getting older males back into our sport after 45. Oh, shit, that is literally all of us. Perhaps we're just in an echo chamber here. Okay, he provides his sources, and there's some detail there. Now, what do the data say about people, why people drop out? And he's provided a whole bunch of sources. You can click on all this.
There's some good ones.
The top two reasons why youth and younger families leave the sport is time and money. And I think older participation rates are also telling us something. Females, okay? Perhaps attack and brainstorm those three headings. They need to be considered in context of families. The female factor, compound this one, and youth, not performance. Time. I reckon you have started addressing that well. I label it the fun to faff ratio, and teams who are not interested in performance especially are super sensitive to this ratio. So yes, shorter, more fun, less serious races. E.g., we couldn't get anyone going to a 2-day regatta, put an informal training session and get 11 windfalls on the water. Okay, so definitely got to be related to the... on the water for 2 hours having a ball. And yes, adventure racing, stuff that had slower kids feeling a sense of achievement regardless of the regatta score sheet. And let's think about nationals, etc. Sailing is selling this is a really good point, selling a product here that is taking people's family holidays, and yet it's generally an incredibly shit product for the family who may not be on the water, nor the sailor who is in the bottom 80% of the fleet. Your interview with Mark Ablett from the Wasp was refreshing in that he recognised this. The family time is precious, and I'm not surprised families are finding better products out there. So that's time. Money, like it or not, the sport has always been financially elitist. It's got significantly worse in the past 20 years. We don't offer a product where parents can buy a boat for all their kids, then families will walk away. Let's say
You win BK1.
Yeah. He goes into a whole bunch of affordability element there. I don't want to read that.
We know
one.
that. I think we've addressed that, and I think that's continual. I don't know that there is an answer for this at the moment because, you know, as Aid said, what, €6,500 or whatever it was for an Opti, you know, we're talking about a big lump of money. The
interesting thing though, boys, and I just want to bring a discussion here. The whole cost thing, there's a lot. He writes a lot there, and I can't give it. I'll speed through it, and I won't give it due respect. If we take the focus away from just racing, it doesn't matter what boat you show up with, then, does it? Like the older boats and the lower tech stuff, you're not going to get hurt. You know, like dragging your boat up on the beach to go and look for a bit of treasure or pull a ribbon out of a tree because it's, you know, you've hit the checkpoint. It changes the pressure to have the latest gear, right? And for a parent, you know, if you're doing it or if your kid's out there doing it, you can just, you know, you can do it in anything, I would argue. And you can, you know, like there is a lot of adventure racing where you forecast your times and you got to try and match your times rather than try and be the fastest. So, you know, and, you know, in the corporate world, there's always these adventures races around the city where you can pay and you do it as a team building thing. So, you know, that's a potential. Females, stuck in the past is the accurate statement. A good friend said, if your partner rocked up and said she wanted to volunteer, it's most likely she would be pointed towards the canteen. My partner hates yacht clubs and yet loves the travel aspect of cruising, sailing, having sailed halfway around the world for 3 years as a family. Good work, you two. We're clearly doing a really bad job here. If you don't work this one out, you don't get the families. Look forward to your next installment. Wow, that's a great point. That's a great point.
3 very key points right there.
Yeah, it sort of condenses everything. Time, money, women.
What, involvement? Full family involvement, you know, and it's
family.
You know, they are going to, and let's sort of break that down a bit further. You know, the volunteer thing is something we haven't really touched on. That is also an absolute prerequisite of the continuation of this sport of ours. So there is an element of, you know, some people might want to go and do the canteen. Some people might want to go out on the water, but that sort of stuff there has to be some form of reward or incentive for that, you know, and that's kind of what's waning. You don't go to the old days. You'd go down the club and it would just be everyone was there having fun. We've lost that element.
Oh, how much fun was it in the canteen when, you know, those hot dog machines with a spike and you put the bread roll over the spike? Oh. Just getting that perfect. You know, how much fun was it? Just like when it was canteen duty, you go, I'm going to get the most perfect bun here. Oh, dear. Cool. One more, boys. And for me, I want to nominate this one because this, as the Vycobi winner, because this bloke is absolutely going all in. So this guy's Nick Dovniak, Winds of Change at CCSC. Relatively new listener, but I'm loving the banter. I'm program manager and youth coach. I split my time between Rhode Island in the USA and Clearwater, Florida, which is where I'll be in 1 day's time. I've been coaching Optis at the Clearwater Community Sailing Centre for 2 seasons. We're fortunate to have an incredible venue, access to both the Gulf of Mexico and Protected Harbour. The US reps in IQ foil, Noah Lyons calls the place home, trains out of here. We've completed our 3rd annual Winds of Change. This is a major spring community fundraiser that raises money to provide scholarships for summer camp and youth teams to at-risk youth in the community. Last year, we were able to provide over $23,000 in scholarships and introduce many to the sport. This year, we've raised just over $50,000, which we'll be able to put back into the community and the sport. To raise awareness and funds, we've partnered with a local high school art department to paint a set of 8 Opti-sails each year that we then use in the boat parade along the local waterways and beaches.
Oh,
in the past, we've highlighted local marine life and endangered animals. This year, our theme was mythic creatures of the deep. That's you, boss. The kids did a great job.
They located Bicey.
Photos can be found on our Instagram. We'll have to publish the link to that Instagram.
Dad, we found a Bicey.
Found a Bicey. The following weekend, we hosted an evening fundraiser featuring an auction and special guest Julie Williams. Julie's an up-and-coming country music star who grew up in the Tampa Bay area but never had the opportunity to learn how to sail. We got her on the water for a lesson and showed her the beauty of sailing. All this furthers our mission to make sailing more accessible to everyone. I figure you guys would enjoy hearing about some good being done in the sport. P.S.
Love it.
P.S.
Oh,
Every year we host the 505 Midwinter Championships, and about 75% of the kids
set up
on the youth teams, and 75% of the kids on the youth teams wear Crocs.
All right, he's in. Definite winner. He knows the touch points.
Hey, just touching on that. Yeah,
that was brilliant.
Yeah, sure, he does. 505s and Crocs. He's nailed it.
He's nailed it.
Hey,
yeah.
What about what he said a second ago about painting sails? I mean, what a cool idea.
What a great idea.
What about every year the clubs get together and they do that? That's part of their opening ceremony thing. You know what I mean? They get the kids down there and they all have to paint a Opti sail. I mean, there must be thousands of Opti sails lying around.
Can you imagine though? How many of the kids that have painted sails will want to go for a sail in the boat or a non-sail? Like it's just switched on.
I love it.
That's a great idea.
Engagement. I like it.
But like a painting session at the first couple of weekends before opening day, they come down and they get the sails out and they've all got their bloody paints. It'd be messy. Oh, could you imagine it?
But no, they do it in the school as part of their art. Like it's a brilliant idea. Anyway, what I love about that is young bloke getting involved, getting lots of kids on the water. They're raising money. They're connecting to the community. They're doing lots and lots of different things and making it adventure and fun and doing the rallies up and down the waterways. It's like somebody's actually doing it. To me, that is the letter of the month. Massive fan of that letter. And ironically,
I think there's been about 100 letters of the month. Just the problem is we don't have 100 sets of Vycobi to give out.
Yeah, no, we got one set a month. But I'm going to, unless you guys object, I'm going to give it to Nick.
Here. Bravo, Nick.
Bravo, Nick.
Bravo, Nick.
And
Dovbo. Bravo, Dovbo.
And ironically, I will be, as this goes to air, I will be in Tampa for the week. And so I actually am going to try and I'll have about 5 minutes spare, but I'm going to try and make time to catch up with Nick because I was very impressed with this. So, yeah.
Not heading down to South Beach like we did last time, Jordan.
Oh, well, I'm on the other coast, but yeah, I'm hoping I'm definitely going to go down the beach and see what I can see. I'll miss my partners in crime. But I'll head down. Anyway, all right. Perfect. Ole, 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 ole. Actually, before we continue that, are we happy with? I think
rewind.
Yeah, no, that's right. Let's just
put your pants back on.
And I'm not going to edit that out.
Just ripping them off.
And we don't edit, so that stays in.
To get lined. Hang on. That Velcro takes ages to line up, Jay. You know how hard it is to line.
I've gone buttons.
Okay.
Oh, that's even harder.
Yeah.
Click. Yeah.
Like putting a quilt cover on.
I think the thing we have to do next, right? We're going to keep doing this. We've got to find a place where we share this information and it stays visible, where these ideas stay up front. And if anyone can give us an idea of that, how we do that, and
website.
Yeah, but who runs
Facebook?
It, who pays for it, who does it, exactly.
Like our website?
Oh, yeah, we can do that. Yeah, that's, but.
Yeah. All right.
We just need
I'll
to
think about it.
Yeah, have a think. Let's have a think. All right.
Get him. Go, Vice.
Oh, I'm back.
It's hot time,
It's hot time with Bikes.
I bumped it. I was talking to Harry
Pants
Fisher.
are off. I'm ready to roll. We're back in the scene.
I was talking to Harry Fisher, and he was telling me at the Laser Worlds, he was wearing the Baccarati top, and a German bloke came up to him. He loves Baccarati, and he's go, "Oh, you were from Baccarati?" And he said, "Oh, it's just my voice that does hot time with Bice." And he said, "Oh."
The fourth leg.
autograph.
We should actually get Harry's Harrier top when we do the hoodies, and we'll just put on the back of his the fourth leg.
Yeah. That's it. All right.
Right.
Sorry, mate.
Right.
Gentlemen. There's plenty going on, as mentioned, in Palmer at the moment for the Palmer Vela, which at time of recording, as mentioned, was just day one, but time of listening, it will be done and dusted. So well done to the Galatea team for taking out the title. That's fantastic.
Geez, you're on fire, Bice. You just
Two
having a
wins.
crack, aren't
Two
you?
wins from the first two races.
Yeah, and Windward Lords today, actually, again. So, plenty on. But what has been happening here, gents, the 52 Super Series.
Oh, yes.
First of the year.
I've been
taking
watching.
part here. She's done and dusted, taken out by Provezza. So it was quite the tale, let's say,
Quite the time.
in the sense that it was no wind, they lost today. Too much wind, they lost today. And then on the they only had 2 days,
Yeah.
which was done. And winning was Provezza.
Yeah.
Took out the first of
which is the new boat, right? One of the new boats.
No, negative.
no.
Not a new boat. So Provezza takes the win ahead of Quantum and Interlodge, but coming into the last day, Provezza was sitting in 5th, and then they just put the hammer down and took the win by 2 points over Quantum.
I was flicking through a little bit of the footage online and through a top mark man overboard. Imagine going man overboard, the top mark of a TP race.
Yeah. Broken push pit.
Yeah.
I believe.
Yeah.
And a couple of men in the tide.
Saw halyards going down and all sorts.
Yeah. So, but I mean, along with the winners, Provezza and Quantum, I think Interlodge, to me, they put in a stellar performance. Very nice. So, well done to them. 10 boats on the water, quite the spectacle.
Yeah.
Quite the achievement by everyone. First one under their hat, and next event being Newport, Rhode Island in mid-June.
Exciting. Cool. Very cool. Well, best of luck for the rest of the racing, mate.
Yeah. Here. What's next, boys? Let's stay in the Mediterranean. Ineos Britannia launched their AC boat this week. So she's on.
Lots of comments going on here.
And
you're in the UK, BP. What's the feeling, mate?
Well, I think it's very similar to what the general consensus is, that it's a standout or a stand-in boat.
Hang on, are we talking Ineos or are we talking the American one?
Ineos.
Ineos.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So she's up and sailing. We'll got to keep a close eye on this because
a lot of theories here, which are and had a long discussion with Britton Ward, who obviously designed the Far X2, but also designed the on the design team for American Magic, and he made some really big points, and that is that the 4 teams are relatively similar in ideas and philosophies, and there's fine differences, but not a lot. But then you got Ineos, which is completely left field. And is it right or wrong? The big question stands.
Well,
it reminds me of that
great
on
discussion.
Sesame Street. 5 of these kids are doing the same thing. One of these kids is doing his own.
You're right. I forgot all about that. Love it.
But I don't know if anyone saw the Mozzie Sales chat. Did anyone see that about Ineos?
Negatore.
A little bit.
I saw the start of it. Sorry.
I'm going to give that a plug. So if you want to have a little listen to what Mozzie says about it, get onto the YouTube, Mozzie Sales YouTube channel. Have a listen to what he talks about on Ineos, in depth and very, very interesting chat about the boat. Just very different. Very different.
We'll get Tommy back on before August, because I think the regatta start in August. So we'll reach out and get, because Tommy's he's our sort of bloke, so he's the best person to get on the show. So
we'll get him on.
Perfect fit. Cool.
What do you reckon, boys? You got any thoughts?
No, not really.
Just waiting to see what happens.
Holding judgment.
Holding judgment. Well, like I said, it could be an absolute rocket ship, or it could not be an absolute rocket ship. We just don't know.
It's going to be fun.
Standing by.
Can't wait.
Yep.
Can't wait.
Then maybe to somewhat of a slower vessel, let's go to the Ocean Globe race.
Oh, yeah.
Done and dusted.
Yeah.
After all those times, all the cassette tapes of
all the lead pencils, all the lead pencils and the cassette tapes.
They've run out. They're all worn out. And the overall winner, Maiden, takes it on IRC. Corrected elapsed time 218 days at sea.
Beautiful. Why wouldn't you?
That is quite. And I saw one of our old ocean race mates on, I think he was on the Penduic, and he gauged the race on time by how many cups of tea he had.
How many cups did he have?
No, it was in the thousands.
I was just going to say, if I used that model, it'd be instantaneous, the race.
Yeah, exactly. I've done. Don't do hot drinks.
Don't do hot drinks.
So Maiden Spirit of Helsinki Triana on IRC. So well done to all there. And then finally something a bit faster, the Transat CIC.
Yes.
Currently underway.
Getting some good footage back there. James Harade has been quite visual, so he's having a bit of fun.
Yep.
God, it's been rough. Have you been
rough.
Seen any of it?
Yes.
Yeah. They've been there's some smashing going on.
Yeah, as I said, there's nothing warm about the UK right now, and this whole season is being a bit strange.
I think
absolutely. But so current at time of recording, we've got Paprika Kia with Johan Richomme currently in the lead, 1,300 miles to go. Charlie Darlin second, and fight for third with Sam Davies and Paul Melliott. So they're all on there, heading due west as we speak.
Yeah, they've had a couple of weather systems they've had to go through. So they've gone, they've basically smashing across on starboard, then smashing across on port. They've been, if you go on board and watch some of the footage, like it has been insane. In the 40s, we've dropped a mast, and somebody, I think somebody lost halyards or two, but that's been a bit of an issue. Ian Lipinski leads that one, and Brogio Beccaria.
Ian's got no fear, and absolutely, it's just go.
Yep.
He's a beauty.
Yep. Fabian Delahaye in third, and in the 60s, boys, I think somebody else, I can't remember, there's a couple of things I've seen go wrong, but Clarice has just fully smashed one of the bulkheads. It is not looking good. I think she took it pretty emotionally. I was watching some of the footage from off the boat, and she's had to slow the boat down. She's going to head to the Azores. And then, so that's La Occitane en Provence. So Clarice Kremer, and she's going to head to the Azores and try and fit it and get to the finish before, I think it's 20 May, the finish line closes. So, because remember, this is the qualifier. You got to use this race to qualify for the Vendée. Yep. So, but yeah, the damage is pretty full bore. But, if you can get the shore crew into it, it'll be done in a day. It's fixable in a day, sort of thing when you look at it. But yeah, she's a bit nervous.
Getting it there.
Yeah, you don't want to do any more damage. What else, boys?
And then finally, boys, Sail GP.
Well,
The boats are in Bermuda.
Bermuda.
The teams are in Bermuda.
Mhm.
The Flying Roo is looking as good as ever after its little incident in Christchurch of hitting the mark. So we'll be keeping a close eye on that.
Yeah, it looks like there's going to be a bit of breeze. Just looking at the weather models, it's going to be light in the lead up. So practice race day looks pretty awful, but it looks like where those mocha boats are going through that big pressure, the edge of it is going to be sitting over Bermuda, and they'll have a lovely bit of sailing. So it should be some pretty spectacular footage.
We're going to see a little bit of smoke coming out the Aussies' ears.
Yeah. Did you boys happen to see, you know, how they had to replace the beam? Did you happen to see what they call the beam on the boat now?
No.
Jim beam.
Jim. Oh, I thought it was identifying as a rudder.
Oh dear.
Putting the new Jim in. I like it.
I love it.
Go get Jim. Go get Jim.
But no. So it'll be. I think from a watching perspective, it'll be pretty good. It'll be a lot of fun. So the other thing I probably should mention and remind people, our good friend Jody Shields, if you don't want to watch the normal commentary, you can tune in and then listen to Jody doing the commentary.
Yes.
On the lock. Okay, so
on
YouTube on the lock, it's called. So Sail GP on the lock. If you want to try and find that.
I must admit, I'm doing pit on the Galatea here, and obviously that call is a pitman's call.
Yeah.
And every time I say it, I just have a little chuckle.
So the owner and the crew of the boat, think you're just that happy go
on the lock,
cheerful kind of bloke, when really you just don't give a fuck and you're laughing on the inside. Very funny.
It is very funny. I don't know.
The lock.
Why is he laughing? It's so childish. I think that's it, boys. Is that it?
Yeah, that's it.
That's it. Got heaps on at the moment. Heaps on, but all good.
Well, best of luck to you all. Keep going. Great discussion. Another great discussion lined up for next week. We know, leading into Worrell. So yeah, boys, it should be a ton of fun. See you next week. Enjoy. I'm not going to have my recording gear, so we have to get it done on that Sunday. So we'll go into that, but I'll take that conversation offline. All right, listeners, thanks for listening. Cheers at barkerati.com.
Get out the guitar, BP.
To reach out.
Guitaring your PJs.
We'll get it on. No worries.
Remember, Radix Nutrition Balanced Meals. Fuel your next adventure with Radix Nutrition. 10% discount if you use Barkerati as the code word. On us.
I was going to say BP just strumming the banjo string.
No.